Hello, game devs. Using GitHub is a great way to store your files, but did you know that it has even more going for it under the hood? We're going to review the other features GitHub brings to the table and talk about why you should use them. We're also going to explore GitHub's features and why these tools are crucial to online collaborators. So stop, collaborate, and listen. We already know that GitHub is an industry standard source control system used by software developers worldwide, and it acts in a similar fashion to the revision history of a Google document. So every file is stored, and we know when someone is changing it and who changed it and what happened to the changes and what the previous file was. This makes collaboration using Unity or Unreal simpler than emailing files back and forth or using a shared network drive to pass those files back and forth. But what else does GitHub have to offer? Well, we've got a couple great features that give you the ability to stay organized and stay collaborative. GitHub has pages, which give you the power to create web pages and host web-based games from a server, from your GitHub server, as long as it's public, which is really important because Unity's got the WebGL system, and there's a way to host games and get testing. So there's a wiki, which helps provide and keeps you organized with live documentation. Projects in GitHub's Kanban board, which is called projects, right here, which is kind of like if you wanted to use a digital corkboard with a bunch of thumbtacks inside of note cards. Each task has a conversation going on, and this is a very common agile development strategy. It's a very popular way to do this in software development. So we've also got an issue tracker. We've also got an issue tracker and giving us the power to create tasks, milestones, and also send bug reports around a team. And all of this is integrated within the code repository, making it simple for programmers to collaborate with other developers, stakeholders like producers and CEOs, and also with customers, depending on the way you set up your GitHub. So let's review the tabs and investigate each feature in more depth. So when we go over here to the wiki, what we can see here is the home page, and I've done a little bit of work setting up a couple pages, but just some example pages. And we've got, if we open up the right-hand side, we can have some navigation throughout the system. And usually what I do when I'm having conversations throughout the day with people who I'm working with on development, I take notes down in a notepad, and then at the end of the day, I kind of add them. That's part of the game developer's job, is to add it to some sort of repository. This might be a big document or a small one, or more of a wiki. It depends on how you need to do things. So I've done both. I think wikis are generally a little bit more flexible, but they don't look as good, so it's a little harder to get things that you can send off to your producer. You kind of have to invite them, and they have to click around, and they generally don't want to do that. When the artist walks over to a programmer and they give them some artwork, the programmer can then just look it up and see how the artwork is supposed to be implemented. And since games flex and change day to day, daily updates is a really important aspect of any documentation strategy. So inside here, we've got a wiki. We can edit any page that we want by hitting the edit button. And as you can see, we have some formatting here to summon pages. This is just links to internal pages within the wiki. You have a preview, which is really nice. You've got some headers and links and all that kind of stuff in a couple different markdown modes. I'm just using markdown. There is a couple different ways you can edit. And then one of the things that you'll want to do is anytime you're updating things is you probably want to write a small commit message, the same way you're writing a commit message for software. Now, we're not going to be doing anything in here, but if you notice, this one's blue and this one is red, and these two are red. The reason why is because I've created a characters page. However, and if we click here, we can see that this is a kind of a organizational page, character 1 biography, and perhaps maybe we go in here and edit this, and we want to say character 2 biography, and then adding character 2 biography. Save. And oops, I forgot to say hit enter, but it doesn't really matter. If you notice, they're named the same thing, but because because this on the left is the same, it displays the same. So this will be really nice if we ever change these characters to a real character name. They'll maintain its original location, but that's all right for the most part, as long as you're organized and you know what's going on. So if we click here, it gives us the opportunity to create this new page. Name, age, background, etc. So I'm just going to hit save because we don't really need to do too much of this. We can put all this in later. But wikis are a really powerful way to kind of maintain a lot of documentation, and really useful. So poke around in here and start adding things. You can usually break down a game design document, the one that I have as a template, which I'll share with you via link in the chat room. We'll be able to take a look at this, and what you should probably be doing in most times is using a game design document to kind of break down what pages you need, which characters. Maybe for us, because we're doing this is my Courtroom 600 project, and I haven't set up everything yet, but we might use interactive methods instead of the term gameplay. We might use locations and story and storyline. We might also have a page for historical documents that we're going to list. One of the kind of downsides to this is it's a little bit of a flat hierarchy, so you have to set up your navigation manually, and it does a lot of work. It does, as long as you're able to put a little work into it, a great way to maintain information, and you can hook things into the code pretty straightforward. We've also got pages. So if you go into your settings, you scroll all the way down, you can go to GitHub pages. And this, you can click on here to read more about exactly how to set this up, but you can use WebGL projects, and you can set this up so that it will host that project within your GitHub repository. Because this is a private, I'm not going to publish this repo right now, but you can pick which branch it is currently using. And it's really useful if you want to test stuff out, and it allows you to kind of host things. It's a great way to generate feedback without giving users extra barriers like downloading executables, and also some antiviral software will kind of pick up executables if they're kind of unsigned or unknown, which can kind of be irritating. So be sure to modify the default page of your game or your demo so that you can keep a consistent branding. And if you have the time, you can make custom index pages, and you can actually run a little website out of this as well. So if you wanted to make a stronger visual look, you can kind of run it right out of GitHub as well. So issue tracking lets you know what you need, what needs to be done, and we have a lot of different power here. As you can see, we can filter things that are open, and my colleague, Dr. Seglio, she's been adding one or two things, and I was doing a couple tests as well. So you'll see a couple artifacts, but we'll just ignore those for now. But issue tracking lets you know what needs to be done, who needs to do it, and what milestone or goal it belongs to. This can help you judge when a milestone is going to be done. You can actually check it off, and it allows you to have a conversation about which issues need to be resolved, and also have a chain of custody when you're resolving those issues. So for instance, if there's a producer who assigns tasks each day, maybe all the tasks need to be routed through their desk and through their username, so that from there they can kind of hand them out as they. Or perhaps you're a lead artist and assigning a task to your junior artist and asking for some really cool artwork. However, every time the junior artist sends the work back to the superior, the lead can provide comments that might require adjustments going along the way. And this handling it back and forth provides a great way to review issues and make sure that there's a written documentation for everything we need to do. And this is especially important when dealing with interpersonal issues, such as, this person's being really unfair to about their critique, or they're asking for opposite things, it can be very well documented because we can see the feedback publicly. But we can see that we have got labels, author, label, projects, milestone, assignee, sort. Let's go hit a new issue. On the right-hand side, we have issues here, and we can assign things. Here's the people within my my repo, and I'm just going to assign this to Clarissa. And oops, that's her account. So I'm just going to assign it to Clarissa. You can actually assign it to multiple people, which is really nice. And this is, a label. So we've got bugs, documentation, duplicate, enhancement, good first issue, that kind of thing. So good first issue, good for newcomers. I'm going to mark it as that, as the filter. And projects, this is the project that we're using, which is over here. And we'll look at that in a little bit, but I can connect this to a project, which is really nice. And milestone, we've got this early March 16th one, and we'll just assign it to that for now. And then linked pull requests, this is when you're linking it to code, but whatever. So let's put a title in, please review and ask questions about, or please review my video about GitHub. And I'm going to write a comment that says, I am leaving this here for now. I will add the link when I complete the video. Since we're doing it right now, I don't have a time travel device, and I don't want to cause a time paradox. God, shish, that would be terrible. I'm just going to leave this here, but I can add comments to it later. I can submit it, and this is an issue. You can see here's the chain of custody, added this to this, and assigned it over here. And you can kind of see who's doing what as well. Which is really nice. You can add more, have a discussion. You can do more things. You can have notifications. This system will, you can hook it up to Twitter or into Slack, so you can report when things get updated and there's comments. There's a lot of ways you can go back and forth between other systems, which is super cool, super interesting. So let's, here's a side note. Since we're in the issue system tracker, let's create a new issue and let's talk about how to make a bug. Other than the fact that, so let's say this is a bug here, and we go, we're going to assign it to me because something isn't working, and so, they don't know what to do with it. And the bug is that, the project isn't initialized, or isn't working for me. Kanban board project isn't working for me. So what we want to do when we're writing a bug is we want to add a bunch of different information. And this can be, the bug is for, at this point, the repository, but maybe it's something that's inside of a software. So when writing a bug, we want to have several things. One is, what is happening to you? What is happening? And in this case, when I go to the projects section, I don't see a Kanban board. And then we also want to add a what is expected to happen. And that might be, I think that there should be a Kanban board with markup, or with columns set up. So the next thing we need to do when we're talking about a bug is how often does it happen? And this is maybe 100% reproduction rate because you just go and click it. So, and that's the next part is how do I reproduce the effect? And you might not need to add like what sandwich you had today, but you should say, open GitHub in Safari. Maybe you're using a different browser, and that might be important. And click on the projects tab and no project. Then I want to make sure that I know, what level bug it is. And that might be level C or level B. There's different levels. A level, this is a crash or a soft lock that stops the game, meaning you can't go do anything else. You can't have any more work going on. B level bugs are pretty bad things. Someone's dialogue is missing, or if you're me playing Dragon Age 2, the characters' heads are missing. So something serious, but not like not like software ending. C level bugs are glitches. D level bugs are what I might call wish list or suggestion items. So that's all that you need to do in order to make a bug, and in this case, we might also assign it a milestone for something that needs to be done. Maybe this isn't something that's gonna shock the world, so we can submit a new issue. And then again, there's a chain of custody, there's a description, and then there's a way for me to go then see what it is that I need to do when I go to issues, because I can then go, oh, looks like, I've got this, I've got an assignee, so I can sort by me, and then I can see the things I need to do that day. And you can do this for design tasks as well as everything else. Once I have it, I can say I've fixed this, and maybe I might want to go into my code here and reference a check-in that I did. So this commit hex, you just grab it, and then you go to this, go back over here. I fixed this. Go check out this check-in, or go see this check-in. And then you just paste it, and then once you hit close with comment, and you see right there, you can actually click in, and this is the what's going on. And if you're commenting your check-ins correctly, then this is going to look really nice, and it'll explain what's going on. So really nice way to do things. You can kind of see this in its chain of custody. So projects is actually really useful as well. Something that is able to give you ability to track a project. And, so the way it works is that think of each one of these as a card and a note card. You can also organize things by columns. You can add more columns. You can add more cards. You can filter these cards and see who the author is or assigns. And it's called a Kanban board. That's the term for it. It's just like Trello and that kind of thing. And it allows people to collaborate on issues. And actually, I can see that Dr. Seglio has set up a training questions bit. I do not know how to answer the messages from GitHub. I could go to the full issue. And so, and then I can, leave a comment. I've created another issue for you, and I will post a link to the video, post haste. And then because this issue is mine, I'm going to just close with comment, and now I can close that. And that can be really useful. Now we've got this closed icon, and it's all hooked together. You could reopen this issue if you think it's not all the way. Perhaps I might also want to say, here is the link to the YouTube training, add, And of course, it's not there, but I will add it once it is finished. And this is, so maybe it's not, this is a to do, maybe this is in progress. And then when it's done, I'll put the link over here so that I can keep track of things. And then later on, you archive cards out. And any good project, maybe this is organized by team, maybe it's by person, maybe it's by subject or like sprints, the tasks that you want to do. It's all very useful, very easy to keep track of things, and people find this really useful. If you don't want to use it, the issue tracker is also just as well. And you can also remember you can add those hex value things, and then right there you can click things in. So it's very flexible. And let's say not everyone is going to be, a lot of people are intimidated by this system at first, and there's a lot going on. So Kanban is just really approachable, and a lot of people know it. So if marketing Mo needs some screenshots from the art team, Mo can come in here and add their request, and we can create it as a issue. We can do a lot of wonderful things that allows people to be using systems and then linking things straight inside this repository. So the artist or a QA tester can go take those screenshots, post them here. Maybe Mo says, "Oh no, can you actually do it more like this?" and and then maybe he draws a pencil sketch, and they pass it along, and then they can check a repository and they can link it right inside. So it's really easy to stay contained in one system. And it makes life a lot easier. You don't have a lot of a lot of stray systems going on. We've also got our Actions tab. In this, we can make code reviews, branch management. This is something that you might use as you're developing deeper code. We're not necessarily going to use a lot of this, but that's what this is. I just wanted to click it so you didn't get confused. So for instance, this is really useful later on when you want to have a build going all the time. You can get builds working. Anytime anyone submits anything, it can kind of start that process, sometimes using another computer. That's usually what we had at Kryptonite and at VV, just anywhere. We have a build machine that is a machine dedicated to making the most current up-to-date version of the game so that anyone can walk over and play it. And then that way, when everyone's checking stuff in, that build machine also did double duty by double checking to see if everything built properly. And if someone broke the game, the program would kick back and it would say, "Hey, there's a broken build. This was the person who did it." We would then bring them over a shame trophy, something that would make them very obviously the last one to have broken the build. At one point, this was a train that went around the entire office and would stop at the person's desk, because we had a lot of electrical engineers and they had a lot of fun doing those kind of things. So that's what Actions is. And we've also got insights here. We can see contributors, commits, code frequencies. This is really useful if you're looking at management of asset or of tasks and that kind of thing, and can show you also project velocity. So if you're working from project management standpoint, this can give you a good insight as well. And if you're, going to issues and you're in milestones, you can see that, oh, look at here, we have 1 open, 0 closed. We've got 100% complete. Now, obviously, I haven't filled the rest of them in, and so this isn't going to be actually reflective of what it actually is to be completed, but it will automatically sort that, and it'll show us kind of, some of that velocity, which is really useful. So there's a lot of power in these tools, and when you're working with others, if you're developing something together, this is a fantastic way to do it. What questions do you have about these features? Can you find me a GitHub project with an excellent wiki or a public issue tracker used effectively? Show them to me, and I'll see you in class.